What's up? Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 3, Double Threes of Standing on Sports. We're back today and we're talking about our Heisman predictions for college football, our draft outlook, what players, primarily like the quarterback, wide receivers, defense, who are our top players going into the draft for next year. Getting early is probably going to change up a lot, but we just can't wait for football. And then lastly, before fantasy drafts really start getting started, our fantasy sleepers for this year. And before we get started, Sean, how are you doing?
Doing good. This week we got our fantasy draft, both of them, dynasty and redraft going on. Not releasing our sleepers until after we do our draft because I don't need people picking up my guy.
No, I agree. I'm giving some sleepers, but not like my personal sleepers. You'll see next episode what those look like.
I'm worried about the guy at the 4 spot. Tyler.
Yeah, he's right before you.
He's right before, and we're gonna be back to back, and we have the same mindset, and I don't like that.
I like that. I think it's gonna be cool for y'all. Pretty cool for me to watch. But no, I'm excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. Get the boys back together. Put some money on the line. I'm not much of a gambler myself. I know Sean likes betting, so it'll
Never
be good for
done
you.
it before, yeah.
Well, he's never done it, but yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, first time for everything.
First time for everything. But, yeah, and you said too our Instagram and TikTok have been blowing up more too, getting more views.
Yeah, so one day I'll figure out when the right time to post things is or whatnot. But our quarterback and running back little graphic that we made had 6,600 views, which is a lot more than we ever get. But just posted the wide receivers and tight ends, and on Instagram it's not doing great, but on TikTok it already has 1,000. I don't know what the difference is.
Do we get a lot of likes too, or is it just views? Or
I wish it equated to likes, but
okay. I guess we need to
that's step 2.
we need to make more appealing content. I think maybe show our faces more. If our faces were on the screen more, we'd get more likes for sure.
Yeah, we need to do our own NFL Combine. I feel like that would be good.
Yeah, I feel like that idea's been in the works for over a year. But no, I'm down. We'll get it. This will be the year, 2026 NFL Combine. Or 2025, I'm down to do it whenever. But, all right, to get started, we're going to go into our Heisman favorites. I think this is one of my favorite predictions of the preseason, in general between college football and NFL. Who do we think is going to win the Heisman? So, Sean, who do you we're going to go over each of our top 5 or top players. But, Sean, who do you think is your number one guy that you think will win the Heisman?
I think it's a really strong quarterback class, and that's why I didn't pick a quarterback.
Makes sense, yeah.
I'm going Ohio State with Jeremiah Smith. I think if Ohio State's going to be good, which I imagine they will be, he's got to be the best player again. With a first-year quarterback, he's got to step up even more. I think if every year wide receivers kind of do it again, this is a good year. But there's a lot of competition this year at Heisman.
Yeah. No, and they've said Jeremiah Smith's the most NFL-ready prospect, most NFL-ready wide receiver since Calvin Johnson. And the thing that's crazy is that he did that his freshman year when he was probably 18. He doesn't look like he's a college kid at all. He looks the way he plays and he doesn't you can go chuck it up to him and he's going to come down with it, but you can also throw it to him in the flat and he's going to go outrun everybody too. He's on my honorable mentions because like you said, it's just such a good quarterback class, and I think it is a first-year quarterback, so he could get fed the ball, but it's also iffy with, how good is this quarterback going to be? I guess it is Ohio State, though, so it'll probably be pretty good. I did see recently, though, that their quarterback competition, one of the quarterbacks in the competition, they haven't announced who, but is having trouble of getting off his phone during meetings.
Yeah, I saw that. I feel like, is that even true? Is it true?
I feel like if it was true, they'd like actually say the name because like I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like a weird thing to just post the post. We're in the off season still, so they got to post anything they can
Well, you
possibly
seen what
find.
recently is going on with like quarterbacks and their Venmos, like their Venmo
I
requests
saw that,
and
and
whatnot.
what's been going on with that? People have been like Venmo requesting them, and like
Or
putting threats in it.
no, no, not that. It's like, so you know how you can make yours like public, like
Yeah,
when you're sending money and whatnot. I mean, mine's private. Not that I'm doing anything, but I just, I don't need people knowing my business.
no, fair,
Selling
fair.
on the side. But no, like some of them are just like titled, very oddly to put it. I guess
Interesting.
PG. I will say there is one quarterback on your list that like there's like skepticism that he might be betting, but like I don't know if it's true or not.
Oh, I
Until
don't
they
even
can
know which
actually
one.
like find it in the account, like you can't like Venmo, everyone puts random stuff in it, right?
Yeah. Well, interesting. Well, we'll get there when we get there then, because I don't even know who you're talking about. But my number one pick, it is probably some heavy bias, but also I think has. I think if all the quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks in college football, if all of them play to their best potential, I think the best one would still be Lenore Sellers. I mean, just like his ability, his size, his ability to make plays, break tackles, still throw the ball downfield. Um, his highlight moments last year were insane. I think the main thing that he needs to hone in on this year, and I've listened to some interviews with Shane Beamer and like Mike Shula, and he uh, was a coordinator in the NFL, so he's going to bring a lot back to Lenora Sellers. And the main thing is like working on the smaller plays, working on, reading the pocket better and not always having to go be Superman, but also, make the checkdowns, make the medium-sized plays. And I think if Lenore Sellers can just become more consistent with all of that and stay healthy, like, I mean, there are other executives that are saying that he could be he's looked at right now like he could possibly be like the top quarterback taken off the board next year if he really reaches his full potential because he has the size, the speed. I mean, he kind of has that Cam Newton build, so and he's a Gamecock too. So I mean, it'd be
There it
crazy. It'd be
is.
great.
Yeah.
I'd love that. So no, I'm actually so excited for the season, and he's a big reason why.
Yeah. I
I see
think
your
rolling into number two, I also have Sellers, but in my two spot. I think, like you said, if we all play to their potential, he's the best quarterback. I just love dual threat quarterbacks. I think, you have an argument with him, Nussmeier, and Klubnik being like the top quarterback, but since he's dual threat, there's more stats, right? Heisman's all about stats. That's why quarterbacks win it over receivers and that. He's just kind of put up more numbers that are appealing. So I think he would win it. Obviously, they would need to finish probably in the playoffs to get it. Because even though it's an individual award, it's always based on how your team does.
Yeah, I feel like it's based on how your team does, but it kind of also depends on like who else you're up against that year. Like the year Devontae Smith won, like there wasn't like a quarterback that really stood out, or like Jaden Daniels didn't make the playoffs, but he won it. Like it's like was there another quarterback that like really stood out compared to him? So I don't know. We'll see. But usually I would say like I feel like the stats when you have those good of a stats, like you usually end up in the playoffs, especially now that's a 12 team. So, can South Carolina, can we get over the hump? If we do, we need Sellers to be great. Going into the next guy on my list, actually, I'm going to switch my list up. Number two, honestly, is Garrett Nussmeier, I'd say. So, also an SEC quarterback playing on an SEC schedule. I think that, I'm kind of debating between him and K. Klubnik. I kind of gave the edge to Garrett Nussmeier because, well, he's not at Clemson. But also just in general, like I feel like he has an easier path to the Heisman, and with just the fact of like when you're playing that schedule, how if you win those games, I think you have a higher likelihood versus Clemson. I mean, Clemson's never had a Heisman, and I think a lot of that could be around. It might be hard in the ACC just considering the competition you're playing is kind of known for being on a lower level. Now you will say though, like Cade Klubnik is going to play Garrett Nussmeier head to head, so how could you give it to Garrett
And he's going to
Nussmeier?
play Sellers.
And he's going to play Sellers too, and Sellers is going to play Garrett Nussmeier. Like all three of them are going to play each other,
Yeah.
which would be pretty cool. So I don't know, but I think Garrett Nussmeier is good. I'm not a big fan of LSU, but I mean I can't deny like he's good. And if he continues to improve, I mean, they did a lot of moves in the transfer portal, wide receiver additions and everything. So Garrett Nussmeier he's going to be up there for sure.
Yeah, I think going in my free spot, I also have Nussmeier. I think I have him right over Klubnik, just because I think there's more around him to do better. I think defense probably give Clemson the edge, while offense is what matters in this. And I think he's got better receivers around him to do, more. I think kind of going back and forth, right? Because like Cade Klubnik has Antonio Williams, who's probably the best wide receiver between the two teams, but he's only one receiver. Whereas LSU has multiple guys. I think collectively would beat out Clemson's core. So
I don't know though, because I feel like Clemson. Like they have the Bryant Westcott Jr. He's going to be a sophomore this year. Freshman year, he played pretty well towards the end of the game, like toward the end of the year. So I don't know. Clemson's going to be a scary team, but so is LSU. That's why, number one on my list for the games was LSU Clemson. I think that game. I feel like I could see either Clemson or LSU in the championship. So I think this game is going to be huge and. I think the game's going to be huge because, I think they are so evenly matched. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah,
what is that?
I think it's easy. Right, we had the easy way out. Week 1, they both play each other.
Yeah, and
whoever wins, you're just going to instantly be like, oh, he's better, even if they don't have the best performance.
Exactly. And the thing too though is Cade Klubnik, like you said, has the better defense. And if anything, in the Heisman, that almost hurts you more because you might not be on the field as much, or you might be running the ball a lot more because your defense is playing so well. So can't pad the stats. So yeah, I mean, we talked about Cade Klubnik's next on my list as well. I think he's a good quarterback. He's gotten better every single year. But can he also get over the hump? Can he actually beat the good teams? I feel like last year, he played 3 SEC teams. He lost to all 3. Can he actually beat an SEC team this year? Can he beat a team that actually matters in a way, like a team that's actually going to have some substance on his resume versus just going based off his stats? Because that's what I think he needs to get over the hump, and I think he doesn't get that many opportunities like a Lenore Sellers or Garrett Nussmeier get. So, and now next on my list, I'm assuming, is this the guy you were talking about with the Venmo and the betting possibly?
Not the one next on your list.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, anyways, I'll just jump to him. Drew Aller's next on my list. Penn State. I know you're not a big Drew Aller fan. I feel like you. See, you trash. You think I have SEC bias? Well, I think that you have extreme bias against Big Ten quarterbacks. Yeah.
I liked Will Howard. He was cool.
You liked Will Howard over J.J. McCarthy, Andrew. That's crazy, but.
Yeah.
I mean, Drew Aller has the build. He has the size. I mean, he has that Justin Herbert, Josh Allen type.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's unproven.
We're going to go watch him put up 17 points, and those 17 points are scored by a field goal and 2 rushing touchdowns.
Damn. Okay, that was a pretty good point. That was a good point because I could see that happening. But Penn State actually, for once in their life, they actually went out and got a receiver in the transfer portal. They went out and got receivers. So I'll say this: I think Drew Aller has no excuse to be good. I think of all these quarterbacks, Drew Aller is the one that has no excuse. I mean, you play in the Big Ten. You're not playing too many good teams this year. You brought back both your star running backs. You got some RCs of transfer portal. If you can't get over the hump this year, you are never going to get over that hump.
I agree. I mean, I haven't put him on my list, obviously, but I think They brought back a team that I think collectively could have been number one, right? In the preseason poll. I don't think they should have, but the amount they're bringing back, I wouldn't have been surprised. He's got a lot around him. The defense is always going to show up. They always do. He's just got to play. But that's the thing. I think they play fundamental football, and that doesn't warrant big time Heisman moments. You know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. They're a team that, like, not necessarily plays by the book, but they don't take big in their games. I feel like they don't take big risk. It's like high risk, high reward, and they're just playing how they should. But when you get to the good games, like you got to those big teams and those good games, like good teams and big games, you got to like make those plays. And I mean, he's never beat. It's the same thing with K Club. They haven't gotten over the hump of beating the good teams. So we'll see what happens. I think he has no excuse to be great, but will he? We'll see. We'll see. Sean, who's your number 5 spot?
Yeah, I'm going receiver again, just because I think there's a lot of good. Like my honorable mention, I'll get him after that, and then your 5 spot. I think are both good. But I think, yet again, for Alabama to be good, you need Ryan Williams to be the best version of himself, right? I think ultimately, when these two are draft eligible, right, they're going to go 1-2, which is...
You think it's going to be Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith?
I don't see, like, unless there's a defensive player that, like...
Dylan Stewart?
Deem, I think the top 5 is probably going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Arch Manning could be going that year too, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Ryan Williams, right, him and Jeremiah Smith are the face of football right now, right? Coming off 2 great rookie years, freshman years. If Alabama wants to be good, he's got to do it again. I think they'll be all right. I think the quarterback play is, from a passing standpoint, probably going to be better than Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I've heard good things about
Ty. But yeah,
I've heard good things about Ty Simpson. I don't know. I think I watched Alabama games, but I that Ryan Williams has a lot of highlight tapes, and so I don't know. We'll see if he can come back and recreate next year. I just think it's so hard to go to wide receiver this year when the quarterbacks are so good. I feel like on the years that it's been, the wide receivers, like when Travis Hunter won last year, it was literally between him and Aston Gianti. There wasn't like another. Dylan Gabriel was the top quarterback.
Well, because the quarterbacks, and we saw from the draft class, the quarterbacks weren't.
Exactly.
That was probably the worst quarterback class in a while.
Worse than Kenny Pickett's year? But yeah, no, I agree.
It's like Money Man Mitch was in that one.
All right, anyways. But yeah, no, I think that they aren't. I don't know. I think the wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams are like some of the best prospects we've seen for wide receivers the last few years. But the quarterback class being so good, it's like I don't. They're not on my list. I gave Jeremiah Smith an honorable mention. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, my 5th spot, I went with John. Spelled it wrong, but John Mateer out of Oklahoma. So he's the one that's been accused of. Wow, that's crazy.
He put on his Vimeo. It said, I think it was like sports gambling, and then it said USC like Trojans versus UCLA 2018. But it seems very it seems very detailed to put in your Venmo. But if you're Venmoing someone that can bet for you, you would probably put
be specific.
That. Yeah. So it's one of those like probably innocent until proven guilty, but like I don't know.
That was a little sketchy. Wait, so from 2018 though?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So
okay.
7 years ago, which would make him.
Yeah, would he even been in college?
No. Because maybe he's what, 21, 22?
Yeah. I mean, you can bet on stuff in high school, right? I guess he would have been underage.
You gotta be 18 though.
Is he gonna get in trouble? Would he get in trouble now for something that long ago?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't really know how the legal system works.
Yeah, I don't know either. Honestly, I put John Mateer in my 5th spot. because I feel like he's gotten a lot of hype. I don't know much about him. I know he went to Washington State. I know he's a great player. That he was the number one like transfer portal prospect. But you're going from Washington State to the SEC. We'll see what happens. We'll see if you can actually make an appearance. I mean, Oklahoma had a really bad year last year for their standards, so maybe he's what they need to get over that hump. I keep saying over that hump. I've said that probably like 30 times.
That's your like go-to phrase.
Yeah, it has been lately, yeah. But yeah, I guess who are your honorable mentions?
Honestly, I put down two, but I'll put this one. I think DJ Lagway, if he plays like he can, I think he's good. Like I think he'll be in the running. I just don't see Florida being a contender to make the playoffs, so I think his name will just.
Yeah.
It will be in the top 10 for voting, but I don't think he'll be at the ceremony.
I think he's good, but I don't know. I think he's getting like a lot of hype, and I feel like he hasn't really done anything. Like, he hasn't even played a whole season. Everyone's like, oh, every game he played in, the whole time they were undefeated. I was like, that feels like you're really grabbing for a stat for one, and two, like that comes down to what, like 4 or 5 games, and it's like, I don't know. Good for Florida fans. They have some hype, but I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. So, and I think this year will be really telling on how good he is. So, we'll see what happens. But now, we kind of went over all the quarterbacks when we talk about draft outlook. Because next year it's basically the same guys. I still have Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, and Sellers on my list for the quarterbacks that I think are going to be, the top quarterbacks taken. Another one I added was Sam Leavitt out of Arizona State. He's playing in the Big 12, not the most competitive, but he had a good season last year, and he's coming back with what's probably one of the better he's probably top 5 wide receiver prospect in Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, I think like on the list right now, he's probably wide receiver 1.
Yeah, so if you have the number 1 wide receiver prospect in the draft, not better than Jeremiah Smith or Ryan Williams, but for going into the draft, I feel like you're set up for success. He doesn't have too tough of a schedule. I feel like he'll really be able to the sky's the limit for him, honestly. So we'll see. We'll see what he does.
He's just gotta get over the hump.
Yeah, well said. I need to start using that more.
Yeah. No, my list is very similar to the Heisman that we talked about. The only addition, I put Arkansas as a Taylon Green. I don't think he's great, but I think he's a dual threat quarterback that I think if he can have a solid year and get in the right system, maybe get an NFL chance. Probably see him as just a backup, but
yeah, you think he's definitely gonna be a guy who's gonna be drafted. It's just probably a later round pick.
Yeah, kind of I think it's one of those 6th, 7th round picks where you all right, you need one more guy on the roster, so you pick him up and see what he does.
Yeah, that makes sense. But honestly, I think just to go overall, I think Sellers, Aller, Nussmeier, Klubnik, and Arch Manning, whenever he goes in the draft, I think those 5 will be first-round picks. Unless there's a massive fall off like Carson Beck had last year, even though he never really had he was so hyped, but I feel like once again he didn't really do anything. Unless one of these quarterbacks falls off, I feel like these guys right now are projected number 1, first overall picks, first round picks. Now, Sean, you want to get us started with the running backs? Who are you looking at? We don't have to go over all of them, but just highlight.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I'll say the one. Okay, Penn State's running back duo, right? They're going to be a top 3 running backs. I think pairing them with Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame, I think those are your just clear-cut, top 3 running backs. Going to be a lot better. Or, they'll be tiers, and I think they're just way above, the other 2 guys I have listed.
I think Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen out of Penn State, they could have gone in the draft this year, and like you said, they both could have been at least a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's a doubt. I think they both Yeah, they both could have got drafted. Kind of surprised they came back, but I'm at now
Especially
with the
both.
running back class now. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't be like first round, maybe early second round, depending on how
Yeah.
many running backs go. Um, the only two, I'll quickly mention them. So I've been kind of high on him, but Jaden Knott, he's now at Oklahoma with your Heisman candidate. It's kind of an interesting offense they got going on. I think it's going to be difficult to play in the SEC and be great, but when you play at California, what I saw, it was good. I think he was the only person on California that was like halfway decent.
Those 10 p.m.
So,
games.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he does on an SEC team. If he plays well, I think you'll see like second, third round draft pick. Obviously, if not, you'll see him fall off.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's a good like one to look out for. And what was your other one?
Yeah, I put Justice Hayes. He's Alabama transfer now at Michigan.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
you
tough
slot
for
him
him.
right into like RB1.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm at Michigan. Michigan always loves the power back, and he's kind of not exactly a power back, so they'll probably split the carries. Um, I think it'll be interesting to see how he plays, but I don't think he'll get drafted that early on.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, the only other guy I added to my list was Mekhi Hughes. He's the transfer from Tulane, I believe, to Oregon. Oregon's always going to have a good offensive line and everything. New quarterback. I think they're just going to have to rely on him a lot, so I think he's going to get a lot of touches. Oregon's going to be in a few probably big noon games, so I think he'll get some, good screen time. So that's why I think he's going to sneak his way up some boards this year. Going to wide receivers, though. This is wide receivers quarterback. That's the bread and butter. Those are the players that are interesting. Just to highlight a few, I think we talked about him earlier, but Antonio Williams, he actually went to a high school where I grew up, Dutch Fork High School, so he's at Clemson, but that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think he's a great wide receiver. He's gotten better every single year. Kind of similar to Kate Klubnik. Like, I think a lot of their draft prospect and their prospect being so high is just kind of banking on, like, they've both slowly been increasing in talent every year. And, this year can they, go just another level higher and really secure themselves as first-round picks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't put him on the list just because I knew he'd be talked about, right? I think him and probably Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State are the top two prospects. And then, honestly, it seemed like there was a little bit of a gap. I don't know how, not as familiar with the draft class yet, but I don't know. I went the route of more like people that are kind of lower that I think will be good. I put Georgia Tech. They had their two best receivers transfer out. One of them's on your list, but in turn they got FIU's receiver, who I think he had 800 plus yards, like all conference. So you slot him in with
Haynes King.
Yeah. You slot him in with there. I think he'll do good. I think his draft stock will probably get him to the second, third round. And then another one I want to mention, still my guy from East Carolina that's at Iowa State now. Iowa State's preseason ranked 25. I think once again they want to keep top 25. It's got to be, his name's Chase Sowell. I think he'll be good. I think he's a little bit undersized, but he got 10 plus touchdowns, so he obviously knows how to get to the end zone.
Yeah, dang. Yeah, and they're actually they play in the first big college football game of the season next Saturday against also ranked Kansas. So should be a good matchup. I know I'll be watching first big. Oh, it's in Dublin.
Yeah,
is that a thing now?
Zero.
Is that the thing now where the first college football game is just in Dublin now? Because it's 2 years in a row. It's probably a contract or something.
Yeah, they're going to Dublin again next year.
Oh, that'll be sick. Or that will be sick.
I
Um,
might go to it. North Carolina's going.
oh, actually,
Yeah, it's UNC and TCU in Dublin
so they're playing this year, just where at North Carolina, and then
at
next
North
year they're going to
Carolina.
be,
The
and
next year
next
was
year they're
supposed
going
to
to
be
be.
at TCU, but they, I guess, got offered to go to
They're like, let's go to
Ireland
Dublin
and
and.
they took it. Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, interesting. Yeah, you should go. You should go. Maybe I'll pull up just for like a stop. I'll probably just stop by though. It won't be like
I'll
long
just
term.
stop
Not
by and
playing.
see what's up.
Yeah, yeah. Um, two of the guys I wanted to highlight on my list were Eric Singleton, the guy that transferred out of Georgia Tech that you were referring to. He's going to Auburn. I think Auburn is like one of those teams that like ever now they've won a natty. I just think that they get like overhyped so much. And like my uncle went to Auburn. I have nothing against Auburn, but like, show me something. Show like I need to see something before I like start going after it. But he was great at Georgia Tech. I think he's going to be a good addition for their team, and I don't see, no matter how the season goes, really knocking him down too much. I think he can only build his resume more. The last guy is Carnell Tate. He's a Ohio State wide receiver. We've been talking about Ohio State wide receivers for what, years now. I mean, like, they
Yeah.
just produced them in LSU. So he's going to be going to the draft this year. He's going to be great. He's playing behind Jeremiah Smith, but I mean, he's a good prospect. He'll go in the first or second round, like no matter what. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think we really only have like one or two tight ends to really talk about, but I guess you can get started with Eli Stowers if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about him. I know he's now at Vandy. He'll be their key point in that offense. I think Vandy's going to do drastically worse than they did this year. I think they're pretty overhyped. So, I mean, I think he'll be good. I think he's probably like, he'll be a tight end one off the board, either him or like Oscar Delp, who's the other one I wanted to mention. But I think, yet again, the tight end class is not great. So you kind of make do with what you got. And you kind of see it when we talk about, like, fantasy football. There's a clear top five, and then after that, it's like, just pick someone,
Yeah, legit, yeah.
And I don't see either of these two players probably, like, becoming NFL relevant to the point where you, like, want to pick them up in fantasy.
Fair. That's the thing with Eli Stowers. I think he's projected to be like a first-round pick, but I mean, it's also like it's so hard to predict, especially for a tight end, like a year out with no plays before. So we'll see what happens. But now to get into the defense, we're going with all grouping all defensive players together. I don't really go in position by position. I think kind of like honestly this draft class overall, I think is just going to be really good. This might be like, I feel like wide receivers every year are pretty good. This might be the first year where I feel like the wide receivers are somewhat underwhelming, but between defense and quarterbacks, and running backs are still pretty good. Not as good as last year, but I feel like defense and quarterbacks this year are stacked.
Yeah, I think you'll see literally probably top 15 picks be straight defense and quarterback with maybe Jeremiah Love and a receiver in the mix.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this and the same thing. I mean, I think the following year too, there's gonna be a lot of defense and quarterbacks. But, anyways, I guess we're yeah. Number one prospect I want to talk about is Caleb Downs. I mean, he had a crazy good freshman year at Alabama. Nick Saban retires, and he was kind of already like considered one of the best defensive players at that point after his freshman year. Transferred to Ohio State, and I think he just kept building on that. He's a safety, and I feel like for safeties to just be so highly regarded, like you have to be just like another level, and that's what he is. I don't think he's going to be like the top defensive player taken off the board just because of his position, but he's a great player. He's going to go early on. He's going to make an impact in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, I think one that we both have on the list. As much as we don't like Clemson, they have and do produce NFL players, right?
They do.
And Peter Woods, it's his time to finally be draft eligible, and I think he might be the first defensive player off the board. Him or Downs, I think.
Yeah.
But I think he's D-line. He's going to anchor that defense, probably get double teamed every single snap. So I mean, he's good. I don't imagine he'll fall off at all.
Yeah. And like you said, I feel like Clemson, like, no matter what about them, like, they do produce defense big time. Peter Woods is going to pick up where he left off, and same thing with T.J. Parker, also from Clemson. I mean, I've looked at mock drafts, and they're projected to go both in, like, the top 10. And if K. Klubnik, takes the leap, he could also go top 10. I mean, Clemson, I hate to say it, but, like, they're going to have a really good draft class, really strong draft class this year with multiple first-round picks. So, who else you got on your list?
I think the only one I really want to highlight is, we talk about Penn State's defense, right, all the time. A.J. Harris, defensive back from Penn State. He's had a really good season last year. You bring back literally a large chunk of your team. I don't expect a lot to change on Penn State, right? We know they're going to win the games that they should, and then it's up to this year to figure out if they're going to win that Ohio State or like Big Ten championship game.
If they're going to get over the hump.
I think, get over that hump. But he's never played. I think like he's projected to play well and be well, and I don't see anything changing that.
No, I agree with that. Last guy I wanted to highlight is Anthony Hill Jr., a linebacker at Texas. I think he's definitely going to be the first linebacker off the board. Probably be a top 10 pick. He's been great every year he's been playing, and there's no reason for that to really change now. So, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Now, to get into my favorite part of the episode, the NFL portion, though. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about college-wise, anything you want to highlight?
Nah, I think that wraps it up pretty good. We're 1 weekend away, outside this weekend, next weekend from week 0, and then we get to start predicting games again.
Dude, it's going to be good. Get to start watching. Man, I can't. Puts a smile on my face. But
I know. There goes my weekends.
What you say it like it's bad. There goes my weekends, and it's good.
I'm gonna get up, go for a run or hit the gym, and then just watch football for the rest of the day.
Yeah. For me, it's going to be football and grad school now. Yay.
Big guy.
It's going to be my life. But hey, it's going to be good. Now, going into our NFL sleepers. We have our fantasy draft coming up this Friday. I know like everyone that we do that with is definitely going to be watching this episode.
Oh, yeah. They're probably
not
right now.
Honestly, the only person I have to worry about is you in that draft. Because I don't think... What, are you going to post these on Instagram like after we do the draft?
Oh, yeah. I'm not putting them until after we do it Saturday. I'm not.
Okay. So are these actual sleepers for you, or are they kind of just ones that like are sleepers but you don't care about?
No comment.
No comment? All right, valid. That's valid.
Well, I feel like I know what you want to do, and there's no reason that you would be drafting my sleepers. Like, there's no reason for you to draft Bo Nix.
Yeah, I'm not going to draft Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I also like between RJ Harvey and Caleb Johnson, the way they're lined up, you can only get one of them. I actually think there's someone I could draft if they're there, but they're not. I don't know. The people I mainly care about getting when I like in the fantasy draft are like the sleepers are important. Like they can win you leagues. But, like, I feel like it's mainly, like, what you do in, like, your first 5 rounds. Yeah. If, like, your players in the first 5 rounds aren't good, then you're kind of screwed.
And I have a plan. I'm not going to tell you, but I've done some thinking. I went for a walk the other day and thought a lot about fantasy football.
Oh, okay.
And I know how the first 4 rounds are going to play out. Unfortunately, we have a couple wild cards.
We do have a couple wild cards. I'm a little afraid.
I think I know how I want it to play out.
See, I've been preparing so much that I think I'm overthinking. I had a whole plan, and then I like started listening to some more podcasts, and I was like, "What if I did something else?" So now I really don't know. I need to lock in when we're like flying over to Austin. But what question? Just doesn't affect me. So what are you thinking of doing with are you thinking running back with your first round pick?
I think my first pick's either going to be Jahmyr Gibbs or CeeDee Lamb. Depending on like what's available, right?
Yeah, fair, fair.
But I do think my plan, I want a running back at the 5 spot. But if three of
If
them are
if like
drafted beforehand,
if
then
him,
I'm
Bijan,
not.
and Saquon, yeah, yeah. No, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. All right. Well, we'll get into like what we do next episode. But so yeah. So who are some of your sleepers? Let's just
Yeah,
start
I
off.
think, yeah, I think, kind of just mentioned it earlier, talked about it a lot already. Bo Nix, if I don't get a top 5 quarterback, Bo Nix is coming home with me. Um,
That was a crazy way to put that, but yeah.
I like the offense. Been saying it. They added another player that I have on my sleeper, and another player that's on your sleeper. I think the
Yeah, yeah.
offense is. I think the Broncos are going to be good.
I think so
Like
too.
we said beforehand, I think the whole AFC West will be good. The Chiefs take a step down, but in return, the other 3 teams are going to step up.
Yeah, I think
And
honestly, I think they're going to produce 3 playoff teams.
yeah, and I can see it. And I think Bo Nix has shown that he can run, so it gives you a little added value. But he can also he's good at being a field general, and I'll take that if I don't get my top 5. Like the top 5 we've been over.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a good. I think it's a good play.
But I have a
It's a good move.
plan. I have a plan.
I'm kind of scared, but okay. All right, yeah. So he has a plan. I have a plan too. I'm not going to be that like scary about it, but yeah. Just to stick with the Broncos theme, R.J. Harvey, rookie running back for the Broncos. I think he's going to be really good. I think right on the depth chart, he's like RB4 or RB5, and people are like really worried about that. But I mean, literally, who is their running back? It was thought that they were going to draft Amarion Hampton in the first round, but instead, who they end up getting in the first round? I don't even remember.
I think it was a defensive player.
Yeah, I think it was. But
Because I
anyways,
was
like
your defense is always already great, and you just like,
just secured a bag with
yeah.
that. But yeah, no, I think that they needed a running back so bad, and they really didn't make any moves in the offseason to get one. They got J.K. Dobbins, who hasn't had a healthy year probably in his whole career. So I think R.J. Harvey, you draft him in the second round, you're kind of expecting him to. I don't think it might not be immediate, but eventually throughout the year he is going to be your top back. And
Oh.
Sean Payton
So
uses his who they get.
they drafted. I don't even know how to say his first name, but the defensive back out of Texas, Barron, who like slipped a
Oh,
little bit. That's why I was like confused because like they have Pat Surtain and that the white
oh,
guy
the
who's been
white guy.
playing
Yeah,
well.
I like how we just
Yeah,
know him like that. But yeah,
yeah.
but I know I think R.J. Harvey's going to be a huge. I think whoever if you get him into fantasy, like you're not going to be upset if he's there for me at the right time. He's going to cross my mind for someone's sake.
See, the thing I hate about Dynasty, right, is we got 10 people, and I'm at the 2 spot right now. I'm not going to see another pick until the 19th pick. I don't give a crap about who I'm picking up at 19.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
couldn't
actually
tell you
true.
who's going to be on the board at 19.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I got the 5 spots. I got the 5 spot in the dynasty and 7 in redraft, so I'm pretty happy with that.
If I don't get Hampton at the 2 spot, I don't know who I'm drafting because I haven't looked at anyone else.
There's no way
So
he's not going to be there at 2. I hope
I don't
McMillan
know.
falls to me at 5. My fellow
Oh,
Panther.
I might. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna get McMillan if I can't get
Oh, because you believe in
Hampton.
Bryce Young, and to get
I
right
believe
into
in
it,
that.
that's
Believe in that 6'4" wide receiver. Yeah.
exactly, and that's my next sleeper, Bryce Young. We can't go a video without bringing up his name, the legend.
No, still sleeping.
Okay. That was crazy. But yeah, Bryce Young, I think he's going to be good this year. I think he has to be good this year. As a Panther fan, like I can't go through that again. But also, we saw Beat at the end of last year. He's gotten better. He has McMillan now. He has more weapons. The defense is going to be better as well, but we went from last, and there's no way we're just going to jump up from last to being like in the top half. So that with that being said, we're going to be fighting from behind a lot of passing attack. I also think, and Bryce Young runs the ball too. Like I think the Panthers, I think Bryce Young, if it's a decent year from him, I think he's going to be a decent fantasy pickup, and I might end up drafting him in like the last round or something like that. just to have a.
That's not okay. That's not okay.
He's a good pickup in a super flex league.
Yeah, have we ever played Superflex?
No, we haven't, but I just had to
Alright.
put Bryce Young on the list.
That's fair.
All right, who you got next?
Sticking with the Broncos, right? I think we just closed the deal. Evan Ingram, right? You pick him up from the Jags. Had a great season with the Jags. He's a tight end that I think will produce well. He'll probably, in my opinion, it's going to be Cortland Sutton and then Evan Ingram when it comes to targets. And
Yeah.
I might be too high on the Broncos, but I think drafting either of those players or Bo Nix wouldn't be bad. Now, could that, hurt me in the end? Probably. But
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, no, I agree.
already finished last once, so what really matters?
Yeah, what do you have to lose? Not your dignity. Already lost it. But, I agree. I think Evan Ingram's a good pickup this year as well. You have to pay so high for one of those top 3 tight ends, and I think after that, it's kind of like a fall off where Ingram's someone that you can get like in the later round, like 9 or 10, and be good to go. So, yeah, no, I think that's a good sleeper. This is kind of going back to like a sleeper running back. Someone else that's going to be like in that RJ Harvey type range of drafts is going to be Caleb Johnson for the Steelers. Because the Steelers are another question where like, who's their running back? They have Jalen Warren, but like they really don't use him like a bell cow running back. And I think Caleb Johnson kind of fills the role of Najee Harris. And I mean, during preseason so far in his one game and in training camp, he's just been like an absolute monster against the defense. So I think he's a low-key sleeper. I don't know. The one thing, though, that is that I don't really trust an Arthur Smith offense. So, RJ Harvey for me is a better pick, but I think Caleb Johnson has the potential to be great. But I think Arthur Smith really limits players overall. And I think we've seen that with both the Falcons and the Steelers. Do you have any thoughts?
I'll be straight up honest. I'm not looking at any Steelers players. Like, I don't care if his like value says it's like the best available. I'm not drafting him, DK, whoever else they have on that roster. I can't even tell you. Oh. Am I here?
Yeah, you're back. You're back now.
Okay. I'm just staying clear of the Steelers. I feel like he might be good, but I think he just got put into the wrong system.
And I think that's really important, like in fantasy in general, is that like, you can have these amazing players, but if they aren't in the right system, then it sucks, but you can't do anything. I mean, I think that's, Kyle Pitts, I think the system hasn't really been good to him, but is that him or the system? Like, it's hard to tell with a lot of players, like where they're at. So that's something that's important to look into with fantasy overall. You've had your quarterback. I guess I've already said a quarterback myself. But I have a few quarterbacks on my list. But I'm just going to go with one, and I'm going to say it is Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is going to be – he had a rushing touchdown in their preseason game. I thought his injury was going to be more of a concern, but he played in preseason. I feel like if it was a concern, they would have just sat him completely. The Jets I don't think are going to be very good, but Fields always has that upside to get you like a huge game. Now he also has the opportunity to get you a really low game, so it's really like just betting. But I feel like, he won't be a bad quarterback to pick up in a late round if he's there, because you can put him in and possibly get like a 30-point game out of him. So, and the Jets are not going to be very good, so I think he's going to be, playing from behind, making plays if he needs to. But if he does end up being good in the Jets system, they got a new coach in Aaron Glenn. He was a first-round pick, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm worried, right? I don't know the Jets. Whole new system, so it'll be interesting to see. Garrett Wilson was great for me last year, but I don't think I'd draft him, especially with Fields. I don't think he's a good quarterback that will get the wide receivers involved. Granted, Wilson's by far the best receiver on that team.
Yeah, just signed a new contract.
Yeah, I don't know about Fields yet. I probably wouldn't pick him up. But like you said, he does have potential to get you 20 plus points if he plays how he can. You know,
Yeah.
I think going into, I didn't have him on my list, but I was listening to something today. The running back for the Patriots that they drafted, Travion Henderson, his first touch in preseason was a 100-yard kickoff return, and that just got me so excited. I watched one full season of Ramondre Stevens play running back, and God, that was awful.
Because you had him
So
in fantasy too, right?
yeah, that he had a little like few games that he tagged like touchdowns in, and I was like, all right, so it helped me there. But after that, it was bad. I think at the start they'll split carries, but I think it will be kind of like we're gonna see in a lot of offenses. Slowly, the younger guy will take over quarter or running back one. But the issue is, I think if you got to draft him, you got to draft him early, and you're risking. You might draft him in like the fifth round and sixth round, and then you're like, okay, well there goes like a wide receiver, or maybe your tight end is gone.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's like
I don't know. It's a very risky pick, but I think if you're playing in a league that people actually know what's going on, I don't think he'll be there late. You know.
yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't think he will be there late. I think he has the potential to be really good. I think he's the type of guy that you draft knowing that in the playoff, when it comes around to fantasy playoff time, he could have a lot of value. But it's like, are you willing to take that risk early on that you're going to make it that far? So, I don't know. If he falls to me, I may take him, but because I agree, I think he's been really good. But I think he's more of a player I'm looking at in like dynasty rather than, like taking early right now.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone else that you wanted to talk about specifically? I see you got like one other guy on your list.
Yeah, I will say, I'll just say it real quick. We have no idea what the 49ers offense will look like. Really don't. There's a lot going on with that team. Injuries, legal issues, the whole 9 yards. But from like the last couple of games, we saw Ricky Pearsall did look decent. I think in an offense where you're not going to have Brandon Ayuk or what is it, like the first half of the season at least.
Yeah.
It's just Jennings, but even Jennings is dealing with some issues. So, I mean, Kittle's a lot, right? You got to get him early. He's going to be the number one. Him and CMC are going to be the number 1 and 2 options. But when it comes to an actual receiver and running routes, I think Pearsall will probably be wide receiver 1 in that offense for at least first 4 to 6 games.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Ricky Pearsall is a good pick here. But the one, like the risk that you're running with him, because obviously all these guys are sleepers. So it's like, it's high risk, high reward kind of thing. And I think with Ricky Pearsall, it's like, when does Brandon come back? But also, like, what is his role compared to Juwan Jennings, who just signed, a new big contract? Do they want to get him more involved now because of that? But, there were those flashes of Ricky Pearsall last year. He was a first-round pick. Can he be a guy that steps up? And I'm excited to see if they do. I think the Niners are going to be an interesting team this year. They're really a team that's like really hard to like figure out how good they're going to be. They have an easy schedule and they have their good players back. But after seeing how bad they were last year and how the NFC West is like a good division, how will they fare out overall?
Yeah. No, I agree. Anyone else you got?
Not really. I guess we can talk about your guy. He's on my list. That's J.J. McCarthy. I think J.J. McCarthy, I already mentioned a few quarterbacks, but I think that he's going to fall to like one of the last rounds of the draft, and I think that he really does have. And I think he's not a bad guy to pick up because he's throwing the ball to Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson, and they're going to have a decent run game, and he's in a Kevin O'Connell offense where I think he has everything he needs to be a good quarterback and a good fantasy quarterback. I mean, Sam Darnold last year was a top 10 quarterback, and he's Sam Darnold. So I think J.J. McCarthy has a chance to be really good.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I do think surrounding cast, he has one of the best in the league. So I think it's very hard to fail, but I do think he'll find a way to fail. Um,
Just like he did at Michigan when he won the Natty.
Dude, he just handed the ball off for a couple passes and then leaped for joy when they won. Like, I can do that.
That's crazy.
Get me out my 9 to 5 and get me on the football field.
All right. I'll see what I can do. Well, I guess if you also know the plays, that also helps.
Maybe.
But hey, we're not here to spread controversy. ... But all right. I mean, I think that's a good way to close out the episode. In the next episode, you are going to see us going over our fantasy teams. What it'll be like, what it'll be not like. How is my team going to defeat Sean's in week 1 or whenever we end up playing you?
Hey, who won the redraft?
Yeah, but who also came in last place in Dynasty?
Hey, look, I had to sacrifice a lot to get what I got in one league. All right?
If that was what you're willing to take, I'm excited to see what your punishment is this weekend.
Yeah, I'm also very curious because Grant and Joey said they have something in store, and now I'm going to be sleeping in the same apartment.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm just gonna enjoy the experience. That'll just teach you not to lose again.
I don't plan on it. I don't.
All right, yeah, fair enough. You just have a football podcast and you lost. That's tough. But okay. All right. Anyways, all right. Well, that's a good way to end it. Like always, keep standing on sports. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.